everybody. Welcome to the Talking Heartland podcast. This is a show where we recap every episode of the Heartland show. And today we are talking about season 16, episodes 4 and 5. And I'm film critic Teresa Wagner. Michelle's here.
Hey everyone.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Excited to get talk about this. Like, it just feels like it just goes by so quickly.
Yeah, it really does. Like before you know it, we're halfway through the season.
I know, it's so crazy. And it's like a 15 episode season as well. Just goes by so quickly.
Yeah. Everything getting excited over there. Ready for the new king.
Yeah, it's just like constant and like media, like the news. It's just I'm just glad I don't live in London because obviously they do the sort of rehearsal.
Uh-huh.
So that part of London, I imagine, has just been rehearsals constant for the last like month probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys get like a couple of days off work and things like that?
Yeah, so they've given us like a bank holiday on the Monday. So pretty much Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will essentially be like a holiday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it just means like public transport and things like that will sort of be messed up. So I've
Yeah.
no idea if it'll be more more transport available or there'll be less. I'm assuming less.
Probably. Well, hopefully it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive in talking about these two episodes of Heartland. Last time we mentioned that we were surprised that Finn hadn't showed up yet. And so we get him in this episode, and it says Amy is surprised to learn Finn has returned to town. Jack and Tim win Hudson's Entrepreneur of the Year award, which leads to unexpected problems for Lou and the arrival of someone from Tim's past. So overall, what do you think of this episode?
I liked this episode. I thought it was, an okay sort of episode in terms of like Tim and Jack, and I do feel like they're really struggling with Michelle Morgan because they're sort of limited in what they can do with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like her scenes are very strange. Um, and yeah,
Yeah,
I
poor
was
Georgie. She's knocked
yeah.
unconscious.
Oh my gosh! Like what a way what a way to get Michelle Morgan off the show for a little bit.
Yeah.
Jordan. Um, and I was excited that we're going to see Finn, but it's also just layered with this element of sadness. So it's hard to
Yeah.
sort of be excited to see him because it's just the
Yeah.
reality of that situation is just so difficult and impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like that the fact that they've sort of tied Jack into this storyline. Because we still I don't think we really know what the issue is between Jack and Finn's grandfather. We just know that there's some drama there.
Oh,
From what I
yeah.
remember last season, we don't really get any information.
Well, I couldn't even remember, and I didn't have time to like look it up again. I couldn't remember what was the issue with Amy and Finn. He wasn't
I think,
there. He
yeah, I think it was
was there.
just like he was going to be sticking around, and I think Amy sort of had this sort of idea that they were going to be working together, that she was going to pass on some of her clients to him, and they were going
Mm-hmm.
to have this sort of you know working relationship that could
Mm-hmm.
possibly turn into more. I think there was a little bit of hope there, and
Mm-hmm.
then he's obviously disappeared, and she's sort of been hurt by that.
Yeah.
Not just personally, but our business as well. I don't think it's anything bigger than that. I think she was just sort of expecting him to be in her
Mm-hmm.
life, and he wasn't.
I have to say, I felt like his character was pretty low energy.
Mm,
Like I think maybe because since he doesn't have much time and it's such a sad story, you kind of want him to be like this amazing presence and just be
hmm
this great thing. And it's not that it was bad, it was just kind of he was like
yeah,
mumbling and it was just a little low energy. It's like, oh, interesting.
yeah. I think that I'm not sure how this season is going to go. I do know that he is in a significant amount of it,
Mm-hmm.
up to when the sort of the actor
Yeah.
passed away towards the end of the filming of the season. So I do know that there's a lot of drama in terms of like his family and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
his family that's in Hudson and his other family, that he sort of left Amy to go to look after.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just feel like there's just a lot of drama and just intense stuff with his character, and I feel like that's the way they were going. And I think it's interesting because they have that sort of with Finn, and then you have someone like Sam who's just very uncomplicated, and there's not much. We don't really know much about him. Um,
Yeah.
it would be interesting if that was a love triangle, having this sort of complicated, messy sort of family situation, and then Sam, who, you know, there's sort of no drama around him yet.
Yeah. Well, Sam is just a little more high energy. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like sort of confident, uh just different than in this episode than Finn
Yeah.
was.
And
But I
Sam has a better relationship with the family as well. You know, he's
yeah, that's
good
true.
friends with Caleb, and he's
Well,
on pretty
and
good terms with Jack, and
yeah, and he's kind of like a quasi celebrity
mhm,
with him being a baseball player and evidently
mhm,
being independently wealthy.
yeah,
He doesn't need to have like a regular job. He can just like, run his ranch. But yeah, I really liked Tim. This is a pretty good Tim episode, I would say.
yeah, yeah. It's a really good time episode.
Yeah.
Um, and even though it sort of goes back to stuff that we've already, had with Tim in terms of him sort of feeling guilty and his sort of years of addiction and things like that.
Yeah.
He's talked about that numerous times in the episodes, but
Mhm.
um, I feel like this is also a good reminder that there might be people that have sort of forgotten because the show has been on for so long, and they didn't binge it in the way that we did. So it might be an actual reminder for people to be like, oh, that's where
Yeah,
like Tim came from.
it's true. They're having to go back 16 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. There were some nice scenes with him and Jack, and then there was also, I thought, some nice scenes between him and Jess.
Mhm.
I really liked uh, when they were dancing. That
Oh
was
yeah, that
really
was
fun.
cute.
And it was cute that Tim didn't like make a fuss about her showing the photography
Mhm.
in New York because the in the world of these movies slash shows, there's nothing finer a person can do than have be a photographer. There's
Yeah,
unending need for
yeah.
photographers. So she's
Oh,
getting her show, but just then she's kind of nervous about telling him,
mhm.
and they kind of go back and forth, and then they end up dancing together. It was cute.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't become a thing of, with like Lisa is constantly sort of leaving and coming back, and I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's just the actress's schedule, but yeah, I'm just hoping that that doesn't happen with Jess either. Like, I would like her to be sort of a more consistent part of the family, as having to leave for an emergency photography emergency.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like, what was it they called it though? Or Jack tells Lisa that he has his snits, I think.
I didn't
Uh
pick that up.
that or if it was in the next episode, I can't remember. Let me find. Oh, it's in the next episode. He says
It's the next one.
that in next episode he says, I just have the odd snit. I miss you. And then she says, we both have the odd snit. Uh,
I have no idea what that means. Something that's like
I,
snipe.
I think it meant like uh that when you're kind of snappy, when you're kind of
Like
uh
snippy.
irritable.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
new
what I
word.
got from it. Maybe I misheard them, but that's what I thought they said. But anyway, ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/hallmarkies. I would love to interview the actress that plays Lisa. We need to make that happen, Jessica Steen. Because I would be
There'd be
curious
so
to know
much.
about some of these things, and I just like her
Yeah.
as an actress, so I would be curious to talk to her.
Yeah, she's been in so much Hallmark as well. There'd be so
Yeah.
much to get into.
Yeah. So we have Finn asking Amy for help with this horse. And she's upset. She's, I'm the one that has the right to be angry here. And then she works with the horse. The horse is very volatile.
Yeah.
And Finn says, well, maybe you're just good at your job. Am I crazy? I feel like Katie has worked at Maggie's before. I swear she has. Is it just Georgie?
Maybe she. I think Georgie definitely, but like I've definitely seen Katie in the uniform before.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was like for an episode or something.
I thought she had worked there before. Maybe
Yeah.
I am just getting her confused with someone else. But Lou suggests that she works at Maggie's, like it's part of the Fleming Morris experience.
I'm still so confused about the age of the character. Because I'm like, she should be like 12 if I'm doing my math right.
But I forget when she's born.
Yeah, it feels like she should be. It feels like she should be like 11, 12, 13, and whereas it feels she's sort of 15, 16. Yeah, it's just strange. I don't know why they sort of messed around with the ages.
Let's see here.
Because they only did a 1-year jump after Ty died.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm just looking up when she was born in season 4. Okay. And they had a 1-year time jump. So you're right. She should be like 11.
It's ridiculous. It's like soap opera.
But I mean, that's very this is basically a soap opera, this show set on a ranch.
Yeah.
And it is very soap opera-y. I mean, literally in soap operas, they'll have a child actor go through a door, walk out as an adult, and then have a whole plot line.
Yeah, soap operas in America are very different from soap operas in the UK.
Are they?
They're so depressing here. They're like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they're very depressing. That's why like 2 of the most popular soap operas in the UK are actually Australian, because they are very sort of bright and sunny, and all of these like ridiculously good looking people on beaches, and whereas the British ones are they're very depressing and hard hitting, and
they have conflict, but it's very soapy conflict. I mean, that's why the name, that's why they call that like over the top, or like you'll have I remember one plot line was the guy had his wife cloned. She was lost at sea or whatever. She comes back, and so now there's 2 of her. Like that's the kind of conflict that you have in a good soap.
Yeah, ours is just like there's comedic stuff, but it's like very heightened drama and very like emotional and intense. But yeah, That
Yeah.
sounds like completely different.
It takes too much time, but I think it's fun. I enjoy it when
Mhm.
it gets silly. But yeah, so Katie is working at Maggie's, and she starts to hear people talking a lot about Lou and how Lou is showing favoritism and giving her her dad and grandfather this award. And then there's a sign left outside on the door saying that Lou is what did she say? No more family first for Fleming.
Yeah, this would have been a better storyline had Lou been able to be had sort of Michelle Morgan been able to be in more of the episodes.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, it
Plus,
seems
I
like such
feel
a
like Tim would be very annoyed by this, that they should
mhm,
have had him be more involved. He would be
mhm,
upset. Uh, but it probably is a conflict of interest for
yeah,
her to be involved in giving out this award at all, that they probably should have like outsiders be giving the
yeah,
award.
yeah, or just like made very clear that she has no part in
Mm-hmm.
the actual like voting and even just like the nomination process. Like that should have been made very clear.
Mm-hmm.
That the fact
Mm-hmm.
that the whole town is turned against her is, yeah, they
Yeah.
need to they need to sort of work out the communication between the mayor and the rest of the town.
Mm-hmm. So this horse of Finn's, I think his name was Tucker, the
Mhm.
horse. He is very reactive. Like particularly when Finn is hitting the horseshoe, the hot horseshoe, which I don't
Mhm.
know why he needs to do that right there in the barn, but right by the horse. But I guess they're just testing out to see how he responds, and again, the amazing horse work that they do to get that response from the horse was just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the horse acting, if we can call it that, is so good. And I feel
Yeah.
like the sort of the reveal of the horse was sort of hurt by someone that had to work on him when Finn was away. I feel like that was fairly obvious because I don't think
Uh-huh.
they would ever have Finn intentionally hurt a horse.
No.
Um, but yeah, it's just sort of was a bit of a not a nothing storyline, but it just felt like a bit of a weak sort of reveal for me.
It's interesting how like one traumatic experience will derail like tons of training for these horses. It
Yeah.
seems like we see
Mhm.
that more in the next episode with this
Yeah.
horse rescue.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Animals are very like that. They're very resilient, but they're also very susceptible to traumas, just like humans.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost even more so.
Yeah.
What did you think of this Mike guy?
Oh, he was acting up a storm as this actor. I thought he came in with like a really good energy and
Uh-huh.
definitely like had this presence of something's not quite right here. So I thought he did a really good job in terms of like really unsettling Tim, and um, I'm surprised he sort of fooled Jack for as long as he did. But yeah, I felt like the actor did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely made me very uncomfortable from the very
Yeah.
beginning. And you felt, that's why I say this is a good Tim episode, because everybody else is kind of bamboozled by this guy, but
Mhm.
especially the fact that he would try to get Tim, who he knows is sober,
Mhm.
that try to get him to drink alcohol.
Mhm.
I'm like, ooh, this guy's bad.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it reminded me whenever we would have an episode where someone from Ty's past would come in. It was just like this
That's
sort
true.
of like unsettling sort of presence.
Yeah, like the Tyler Hines
Mhm. Yeah.
character. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. And he says that life gets lonelier by the day. And that's when he tries to get Tim to drink. And I mean, I do feel like you do get a little bit lonelier as you get older. It's
Mhm.
just harder to make new friends. but it's not
Yeah.
impossible. Like, all he needs to do is like, I don't know, join a group, bowling league, something like,
Yeah.
uh, join some kind of group, help in some way, go to church if you believe, like whatever it might be. You do have control over your loneliness to a certain degree.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like you don't sort of see this family much outside of the family. Like the fact that Amy has no friends is
Yeah, that's true.
really concerning. Like she has Caleb and that's pretty much it. Um, in her family. But yeah,
That's a good point. I
would
hadn't really
be
thought of that. But since Soraya left, she hasn't really had, that was a long time
mm,
ago. She hasn't
yeah.
really had a
And
friend.
yeah, she was friends with Cassie for like a minute before
Oh yeah,
we never really saw that actress again. So yeah,
it's true.
it would be nice if they had have a friend next season.
Yeah, that would be nice. Especially if they're going to start up a new relationship. It'd be fun for her to have somebody outside the family she can talk to, and kind
Mhm.
of be cute about it.
Yeah. Mhm. Because we know Jack's not going to be cute about this one.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Calling all fans of Outlander and time travel romance. New from Gabriel Meyer comes a dramatic time-crossing tale set in 3 separate timelines. Maggie inherited a gift from her parents that allows her to live in 1861, 1941, and 2001. Each night, she goes to sleep in one time period and wakes up in another. She faces a difficult journey to discover her true self while drawn to 3 worthy gentlemen before she must choose one life to keep and the rest to lose. Buy in this moment for 30% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com. That's bakerbookhouse.com. Threatens Tim. At first, he says that he tells Jack and all them that Tim saved his life, and then he tells Tim, "Well, I'm going to expose you that you actually risked my life when they were working in the oil fields, and that he's going to basically like blackmail uh, Tim and say he's going to." What's he trying to get out of Tim?
He wants us a part of Heartland um business, like the meat business. He wants like a cut of the profit sort of indefinitely.
Mm.
Essentially
Yeah,
just
and
blackmailing him.
he wants like Tim to make a public apology,
Mhm.
and that he almost killed Mike, and that Mike at the time covered for him, and so he's upset, uh, and then he says, "You almost killed me, and you got everything." He's got the family, he's got the successful career. But again, it's always tricky when you're comparing because he also like lives in a tiny thing above a tiny apartment in the barn. Like it's not like Tim is living some luxurious life.
And he's got himself to a point where he's sort of comfortable.
Hmm.
And he's not been with Jess for very long either, so
Yeah.
yeah, he's sort of for a long time been in the process of putting his life together.
Hmm. So Lou asks Fred to give the speech because she's there with Georgie, and I mean, I would think the entire family would be a lot more concerned about the fact that Georgie is unconscious. They don't seem to care. Um,
Oh, Roger.
but, but Fred is very nervous about doing it. But he's a funny character. I enjoy whenever they can bring Fred in.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Just always remember the date you went on with Lou.
Yeah, that
Never
was
take him
really good.
seriously.
He loves talking about grocery stores. And so Jack and Tim both speak. He says, "I'm no hero." He admits to almost killing Mike. And then Jack confronts Mike and basically says, "Leave leave with your crappy RV and leave us alone. Which was nice to see Jack defending Tim.
hmm Yeah, it feels like they've sort of got to a place now where they do sort of get frustrated with each other and sort of lose their cool with each other, but they've definitely established them as best friends at this point.
Yeah, because I mean, it really is super hard to come back from something like that, from addictions. And I thought it was moving in this speech when he talks about like he's had his addictions and
hmm
it has cost him a lot. And I mean, I've had two cousins that have passed away because of drugs. It's a tough thing. It's tough to lick. And
hmm
so the fact that Jack gets that and understands is I appreciate that.
hmm
Yeah. And it seems like Jack's not one to like hold a grudge.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, which is good. So this is when Lou says, I'm a mother first and mayor second. And she puts Rick in charge. And I know it has to work for the story, but I don't think that's the way it actually works. Like, I don't think you can just, because I think he's just like an assistant. He's not like an elected official. I
I'm not
think you
sure how
have
it
to
works.
have an elected like I don't know about mayors, but like governors certainly you have the um oh, what's it called? I can't think of the word. But governors, they have it's like an elected position.
Yeah, I don't think the assistant sort of steps in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's right.
Yeah,
But it works. It's
yeah.
interesting because I had like a lot, probably double the notes for this episode compared to next episode.
hmm
But yeah, it's I mean a lot's going on next episode, but it just you don't have as much to kind of analyze about it, I don't think.
hmm
Yeah, but what would you give this episode 1 to 10?
I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
So then we have Higher Ground, episode 5. A neighboring town has a river flood near Hudson. And so the people come in. They also rescue a horse called Biscuit. And so they're helping both the people and the horse get back on their feet again. And so that's basically what happens. It's flooding, I guess, is in Alberta, in a neighboring town.
Mhm.
Overall, what do you think of this episode?
Yeah, I thought this was a really good episode, and it's a bit of a throwback to, when they used to do sort of episodes like this every season.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked Lou to have been a little bit more involved, but she has to deal
Yeah.
with Georgie. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode for a lot of characters.
Yeah, there
But
were
yeah,
some really compelling set pieces. Like I'm not sure
yeah,
how they got that set piece of the flooding. And then also, I mean, that was pretty impressive, that whole scene with the helicopter and the horse.
yeah, I've noticed a lot this season. They're using a lot of sort of drone technology and a lot of drone filming, especially for these sort of big sort of spectacles and even just
Mhm.
sort of capturing the landscape
Yeah.
that they're in. I feel like it's been used to really good effect. But yeah, I think I was just the first 10 minutes. I was just so happy to see Scott. I was like, oh my god. Scott still exists in this show.
I know. Yeah, I mean, but that they were able to get that shot of the horse on the helicopter was pretty crazy, I thought.
Yeah, and I'm curious did they actually like do that for the episode because it seems so extreme.
Yeah.
Is there like a safe way of doing that that isn't going to, traumatize the horse like it does in this episode?
But it didn't look like news footage or something like that. Like it looked like the same quality of filming as the rest of the episode. So I don't think that they like got it from somewhere else or it was like a visual effect or something. But yeah, how did they do that without upsetting that horse?
Yeah. That's like
Amazing.
the question we ask every episode. Like, how did they accomplish this?
Yeah. And Scott's there, helping rescue animals. And it was pretty amazing when he brings the couple, their dog back. That was a great moment. It's
Yeah.
like Scott the hero.
Yeah. I was so sad seeing Remy in this episode as well.
I know.
Oh my god.
That was sad.
Yeah.
Because if people don't know, Remy passed away, which is so sad. I know. Yeah. Because I mean he was a pretty old dog, so it makes
I think Amber's post had said, she was like 15, 16, something like that.
I mean, at least because wasn't they in all the seasons? And
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't a puppy. It was like a regular dog. So yeah, he's at least 16 years old.
Well, when did Georgie appear? Because it's Georgie that finds Remy.
Oh, really? It was that late?
Yeah, well, maybe it's not.
I forgot that.
Maybe it's not. I just know that Remy like rescued Georgie at some point, and I'm not sure if that's when Remy was.
Let's see here.
I'm not. When did? I don't think Remy was in the first season.
See, I'll look at the Heartland Wiki. You're right. Georgie finds Remy in season 6, episode 5. Good. Very good memory. Very good. So
I knew there was something.
He was around for 10 seasons. But yeah, I know that was very sad. And I like an epic episode for him for this be the first time we see him this season. And then so all the evacuees are at Maggie's. We have this couple that's staying in the loft. Their farm is ruined. They had an organic farm and like there's fertilizer and other stuff that's come up, and so that ruined the farm. So they have to start all over. They've lost their dog. I mean, it was a pretty sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I do like that. Sort of Tim gets kicked out of his loft.
Yeah, he's like, you can stay at the Dude Ranch. Yeah. Did you see the documentary The Biggest Little Farm?
I haven't, no.
Okay. I don't know if I would really recommend it because it's extremely stressful. It's about this couple that decides to do this organic farm. They move out of like Los Angeles to build this organic farm, and everything that could go wrong goes wrong. I mean, everything from all different kinds of bugs and animals and illnesses, and I mean, just crazy. It was like, this is a cautionary tale. But it kind of reminded me of these two. I don't think they had flooding at the
avoided flooding
farm, but it was very stressful, and it's hard doing that organic farming. I mean, you have to go through so many inspections and everything, so it's tough.
Yeah.
So we also have Rick, who is really stressed out about handling this crisis and being a father. And I know that's a little extreme when they're like, you think this is hard? try being when you're going to be a dad. Like,
Yeah,
I know
they're
that.
really like terrifying this man.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, I know that being a parent is difficult. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not like a natural disaster happening every day in your life. In fact,
God.
I mean, I think that you have a lot of fun, happy moments being a parent. And he's not doing it alone. He has a partner, even
No,
though we
he
haven't
has a partner.
seen a partner this season yet. But evidently this couple, their entire house was washed away. That was very sad.
Hmm.
Very, very sad. All their stuff. And like I said, their organic farm is ruined.
Yeah, because all of the sort of chemicals
Hmm.
get into the soil and get into the fields, and
Yeah.
they pretty much have to start all over.
Yeah. And then there's this old man there, and he doesn't want their pity. I don't want your pity. But he lost his house as they're trying to help. Tim is trying to talk to him. He's estranged from his son. And so then we have, and this is another good Tim episode. So
Yeah,
season
I feel like
16.
Tim was really, he was really good with this guy
Yeah.
because he was not, he was not pleasant.
Yeah. And they really did a good job building up to this reunion at the
Hmm.
end with the son. That was great. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, because the second he sort of says that he never wants to see his son again, you sort of can tell he's lying.
Right. Yeah. And then we have Lisa. She's getting called back to Florida to look at a horse. And I totally see Jack's point here, because
Hmm.
you do need to be together to make a marriage work, at least
Hmm.
to some degree. And I guess the only thing I wonder is, I mean, I know Jack hates to travel, but this isn't going to France. This is just going to Florida. He could probably see Georgie at the same time. So why not just go with her
Hmm.
on a few of these? And that
Yeah,
solves the problem.
yeah. I would just be so curious to find out why this is a storyline. Like, is there a particular reason why Lisa has to leave like multiple times a
Yeah,
season?
I would be like curious too.
Yeah, it might
And
just be that the actress doesn't want to work as much, or she's got or she is working to like a lot, and it's a
mhm,
way to keep her on the show. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I could tell you're upset with me the other day when I said that I had to leave. You were upset with me and you're not supporting my dreams. And then he says, I do support your dreams. And that's when he says, I just have the odd snit. I miss you. We both have the odd snit. And we also get a really great scene with Tim trying to help Rick with his speech. And this is
Mhm.
Parker who sees this and says, Tim, help him with the speech. And it was really funny. I thought, I don't know, just uh,
Yeah.
he's
I feel like
not very helpful.
when you lean into comedy with Tim, it's always I wish they would do it more. It
Yeah.
would soften his character up a huge
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah. And he thinks he's just done a great job. He's
Yeah.
really been encouraging him well,
With Tim, the
which
life
was,
coach.
yeah, it was very funny. It was very good. And he ends up giving the speech and he nails it. He does a great job. And so Tim thinks, oh, this is great, which was funny. We also had a very cute scene of Lindy picking flowers.
Oh yeah, that was
It was
beautiful.
adorable.
Like however they shot that, like with the lens flares,
Yeah,
and it's so good.
it was so good. And then you have Lisa talking to the man of the couple and saying, if you need a job, if you need work.
That was
And
a bit much. I was like, literally just met these people. Especially as
yeah,
she's leaving. Like it'd be different if she was like sticking around to sort of help them. The fact that she's gonna give them a job and disappear, I'm like That's a
Yeah.
bit intense.
Well, even Jack's kind of like, what are you doing? But they decide that once Scott finds their dog, that's a turning
Mhm.
point for them, and they decide they're going to rebuild. You also have, during all of this stuff with the old man and his son, it's makes Tim think about Shane, his son,
Mhm.
who we haven't seen, I don't know for how long. Been a
Years,
while.
like literal years.
Yeah, maybe I'll check the wiki on that too.
Yeah, this episode was crazy. We get Scott and we got like a mention of Shane.
Yeah, so he was introduced in season 4. And I guess last time we saw him was season 12.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And so I guess we'll get to see more of Shane,
Mhm.
who they like completely forgot about for
Yeah,
like years of the
yeah.
show.
It's yeah. Even though he was a kid, like the fact that they say in this episode, it's like he's working for like a law firm. I'm
Yeah.
like,
You're like, what?
what?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's true. I felt that too. But at the end, he calls Shane and says, "Hey, I want to meet up." So we're going to be getting that, I guess, sometime soon.
Mhm. Yeah, I know the actor's back for at least one episode. I think it might be multiple.
Yeah, they haven't updated the wiki to include season 16.
Mm.
Um, yeah, let's see. Last time, Miranda declares Tim an unfit father and cuts off all contact between him and Shane. So he tries to get joint custody. He asks Janice to marry him to prove he has a stable family life. But when she finds out and dumps him, he starts drinking again. Oh yeah, that was
That was
that
about
was a lot of bad Tim. That was a bad streak
Yeah.
for Tim. Oh, I forgot about Janice. Completely forgot.
Yeah, I'm literally looking up pictures of the actor. It's so grown up now. Crazy.
So there we go. That is what happened on this episode. Very busy episode. Seemed like a very expensive episode. But I thought it was pretty good. I'd probably give this one 8.5.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5.
So there we go. Let us know what you think of this episode. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And Michelle, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Michelle R. Benson.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group and merch store. So check that out. And thanks again to everybody. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.